My name is Rashid Kay, Head of Research, South African Hip Hop Museum from Ritual Media Group, responsible for Back to the City and South African Hip Hop Awards.
We're definitely glad to have you here, being the spokesperson for Back to the City,
Yeah.
South African Hip Hop Museum,
Yeah.
and
South African Hip Hop Awards. That's media launch for South African Hip Hop Museum, and then we invited the government dignitaries to launch this officially to the public through the media. And then the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture is here to endorse it officially. So this
Okay.
is what we're doing now.
So this is a hip hop museum.
This is a South African Hip Hop Museum.
This
yes.
must be one of its kind in Africa, basically.
It's the first in the world.
What brought about this concept?
It's not documenting our own history enough, and contrary to the popular belief, South African hip hop is older than Kwaito, but people don't know that. Like Black Noise has been there since 1982,
Okay.
and then POC, Prophets of the City, since 1988. There was Karamo in 1991, Katlehong Rappers Movement. All of those things happened before Kwaito existed.
You know, speaking of those people who has pioneered hip hop in South Africa before, right?
Yeah.
That's a great one. That brings me to the next question. Like, just paint a quick picture. What was the state of hip hop, maybe in the 80s or in the 90s in South Africa?
In the 80s, it was not music, but it was something like graffiti,
Okay.
protesting against apartheid, Free Mandela. That how hip hop expressing itself back in the 80s. Then there was like protest music, like POC, which was banned in 1993 by the Clerk government. It's been stages of how young people been living. They've been expressing their own reality.
If you compare hip hop before and now, can you paint a picture now as well? Especially South African hip hop now.
Yeah.
Just paint a quick picture.
The message within hip hop has always been about the times. Back in the 80s, it was like free the power, fight the system, you know. And then in the mid 90s, it was like parties and celebrating our freedom, you know. So it keeps on changing with the times. Always. That's why we document this. If you document hip hop, you document a certain era, a certain period.
I just want to delve a little bit out of the museum thing quickly. How do you think like digital distribution has affected South African hip hop specifically?
Digital distribution has advantages and disadvantages.
Okay.
You can have 1 million streams and not get a cent because the money is very little, next to nothing.
Okay.
But you will reach more people, which means more shows, more events you can tour because a lot of people know your music. So digital distribution is about exposure and getting your stuff out there for you to get the jobs. It's like a business card.
Okay.
It's more like a business card. Yeah.
Why do you think it's very much important to have a hip hop museum in South Africa?
To keep the legacy for the next generation to know about who did what 100 years from now.
Now hip hop, what do you think can be memorable to be kept in this museum in the nearest future from now hip hop?
In the nearest future, they need to know. They need to know that Casper was the first rapper to fill up the dome, to fill up Orlando Stadium, to fill up F&B.
Okay.
When it's now common in the future, when they do that, they mustn't think it's always been like that. At some point, it wasn't there, and it took one guy to make it happen.
Just send a shout out to the up-and-coming artists and a word for them.
Up-and-coming artists, 10,000 hours, and then invest in your craft. Time, effort, and energy.
All right, man. On that note, man, I want to say thank you for coming through to the Morgie stand at the South African Hip Hop Museum Lunch Official. I've been speaking to
Rashid Kay.
Rashid Kay. Welcome, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you
I
for having
appreciate
me.
it. Thanks for talking to us.